There's a choice we all make, whether we really think about it or not. In our jobs, in our teams, we're loyal. But to what exactly? Is it to that charismatic leader, the person who just lights up a room? Or is it to the mission itself, the principles that leader is supposed to be fighting for? This feels like a super modern question, but as we're about to find out, it's actually an ancient dilemma with some very real and very modern consequences. So get this. Here's a question posed over 1,400 years ago, and wow, is it direct. It's designed to test the absolute core of your commitment. Just imagine hearing this in a moment of total crisis. Your leader is gone. What do you do now? Do you run?
So where does a question like that even come from? We have to go back to this exact moment, the Battle of Uhud, way back in 625 AD. In the middle of the fight, a rumor just tore through the ranks. The Prophet Muhammad had been killed. And for some of his soldiers, hearing that their leader had fallen, well, they lost all hope. They were actually thinking about retreating. So this question wasn't some philosophical thought experiment. It was a real-time challenge, asking them straight up, are you fighting for the man or for the message he brought?
And that moment, right there on the battlefield, it reveals this timeless lesson. It's a test that every single group, every team, every company eventually has to face. It forces all of us to answer, where does our loyalty really lie? With the person at the top or with the mission we're all supposed to be working towards?
And this really gets to the heart of the matter. See, loyalty to a person, it can feel amazing, it's emotional, it's driven by charisma, but it's also incredibly fragile. The second that person leaves, the whole thing can just fall apart. Now, loyalty to principles, to a shared mission, that's a different beast entirely. It's built on something more rational, it's way more resilient, and it's designed to last, no matter who's in charge.
Okay, so let's fast forward from an ancient battlefield. How does this dilemma, this choice between loyalty to a person or to a principle, actually show up today? Well, as it turns out, it's a huge challenge, and it's playing out in boardrooms and businesses all over the world.
And man, the numbers tell a pretty stark story about the cost of getting this wrong. We love the idea of family-run businesses, right? These legacies that are supposed to last for generations. But the data says something else. The average lifespan, just 34 years. So why so short? So often, it's because the entire company is built around the magnetic personality and singular vision of the founder. And when that founder is gone, the system that was built on them and them alone just starts to crumble.
And this brings us to this kind of crazy paradox, doesn't it? A great leader's most important job is to build a system that makes them, well, unnecessary. The vision, the values, the mission, all that good stuff can't just live in one person's head. It has to be baked into the DNA of the organization itself, so it can keep on thriving long after the founder has moved on.
So if loyalty to a person is the problem, what's the fix look like in the real world? For a really wild answer, we're going to look somewhere you might not expect. The Toyota production system. Let's dig into how one of the world's most successful companies actually lives and breathes this ancient principle of system-driven loyalty.
Now listen to this, because it's a totally radical idea. Most companies, they celebrate their heroes, right? The indispensable genius, the star performer who saves the day. But at Toyota, depending on any single person is actually seen as a mistake, a bug in the system. The whole goal is to create a process so strong that excellence comes from the system itself, not from the magic of one special individual. Jidoka, or automation, is this philosophy in action, and it's brilliant. Any worker on any part of the assembly line can pull a cord and stop everything if they spot a single flaw. I mean, just think about the power in that for a second. The authority to protect the mission, in this case, perfect quality, is handed to every single person. Their loyalty isn't to their immediate boss or to the pressure of keeping the line moving, it's to the principle of quality. So how do you actually build this thing? Well, it boils down to 4 key pillars. First, you need standardized work, so the best way to do something becomes the only way to do it. Then you need shared values, so everyone is pulling in the same direction. You have to truly delegate authority, like we just saw with Jidoka. And finally, you have to institutionalize knowledge. Capture it, document it, and make sure it belongs to the whole system, not just to a few key people. Okay, so this brings us full circle, all the way back to that first pretty chilling question.
What does it really mean to turn back on your heels? Let's translate that from the battlefield into our own jobs, because this is where it gets really personal for all of us.
You know, turning back isn't always this big, dramatic retreat. It's the small stuff, the everyday surrenders. It's that moment when a project hits a wall and you just check out. Or when the boss who really inspires you isn't looking, so you kind of take your foot off the gas. It's giving up on the goal the second the plan gets messy.
And the total opposite of turning back is this quality the source calls liyakat, or true merit. Let's break it down. It's pretty simple. Every day we have our process, right? That's the plan, the workflow, the how we do things. But above that, we have our mission, the core purpose, the why. True merit isn't about just following the process perfectly. It's having the character to stick to the mission, especially when the process completely falls apart.
Look, anybody can look good when things are going according to plan. That's easy. But true loyalty, true merit, that shows up in a crisis. It's all about protecting the why when the how is a total disaster. A process can absolutely break, but the mission, that can't be abandoned. That's real loyalty. And once you see it, you start to see this principle pop up everywhere you look. In business, it means build the vision into the system, not the person. In management, principles have to outlive the manager. In a family, core values need to be passed down, not just tied to one person. In commerce, your trust should be in the brand and its systems, not just one friendly salesperson. It's always about building something that's bigger than any single person.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from a 1,400-year-old question on a battlefield to the factory floor of Toyota and all the way back to our own daily work. So now it's your turn. It's time to turn that question on ourselves. So I want you to really think about this in your own world, your company, your team, your community. Is it built on that fragile loyalty to one person? Or is it built on the resilient strength of a shared mission? If your leader wasn't there tomorrow, would you turn back on your heels, or would the mission continue? That's the ultimate test.